Hello and welcome to the Vital Blend. My name is Anthony, and today I want to introduce you to Jonathan Fah, who in November 2020 decided to challenge himself. He wanted to lose 300 pounds in 3 years. Now keep in mind, he was over 500 pounds, had tried to lose weight before and failed. But this time, it was going to be different. You see, in addition to his own weight loss challenge, Jonathan started up a YouTube channel where he has been live streaming most every weekday for the past 18 months. Now, not only has this bold approach helped keep him accountable to his own goals, but it also provides inspiration and a blueprint for anyone watching now or years from now to change their food and change their lives. So far, Jonathan has not only changed his own life by losing 220 pounds, but he's also changed the life of his wife, his kids, and his family as well. After 18 months of following a whole food, plant-based diet, Jonathan not only looks like a different person, but he feels like a new one too. And he's not done yet. So right now, let's meet Jonathan Fah. Jonathan, it's great to meet you. Thanks so much for stopping by the Vital Blend to share your story.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I mean, your story it's in the making. It's incredible. Is this the most serious that you have ever been about getting the weight off, would you say?
Yes. Yeah, that was part of my commitment when I started this, was that no matter what I was going to do, I was going to focus on my health and overall well-being for at least 3 years, because I always found that I could keep momentum for 2 months or 3 months, or even as much as like 8 or 9 months. But then after that point, I would lose that motivation to keep going.
And then the weight would come back on again, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And more.
Have you ever lost 200 pounds before and gained it back or anything along those lines?
No, the most I lost in 2013, I think I started at 415 pounds and I got down to about the same weight I am now, about 300. So I lost about 115 pounds. It was over a 9-month period. I was meeting with the doctor. I was taking a prescription for a drug called phentermine, which is an appetite suppressant. And I mean, as soon as I was unable to take that drug anymore, my appetite came back, and I never learned how to eat right in that 9-month period. So I just went back to the same way I was eating before.
I'm glad that you said that, because one of the things that I like to say is a lot of these diets or a lot of these other things that they try to get you to do, it teaches you how to cheat, doesn't teach you how to eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you don't know how to eat right, then the weight will come right back on again.
I always felt like I was going between two diets. I was going between this diet of somebody who weighed 500 pounds, like I got to, and then this diet of an anorexic, somebody who eats that's like 90 pounds. I would eat like 600 calories and try to maintain that. And it just wasn't possible.
Yeah. So I want to go back to when you first thought about doing this. You were what, like 520 pounds?
Yeah, that was my starting weight, 520.
So what was life like? And there's so many things around that. We can talk about what you were eating. What were your favorite foods? What did you think about health and food? Or did you even think about that at all? Was that ever a thought?
No, I mean, every day I woke up and in my mind, I was like, okay, today's going to be the day, and then by the time I got to work, I drive by 5 fast food restaurants and I'd stop at one of them, and I wouldn't even make it to 9 a.m. before I, kind of broke my diet. Or I would always say, okay, next Monday or after this weekend, I always kick the can down the road, putting that problem for a future version of me.
What was it that got you thinking about health and diet? And like, was there some spark there?
Yeah, I mean, things were building up. I just walking up a flight of steps would cause my heart rate to spike real high. I was having difficulty with my own mobility. One of the physical things that I had going on is that I had a lot of swelling around my calves and my ankles. And I was actually starting to develop these like sores on my legs that I knew was because of all the water retention, and it was something that I needed to take care of.
Yeah. So I would imagine that there were things that you couldn't do because you have a family, right? You have kids.
Yeah, I have 4 kids, all under 10 years old now. And so I would play with them, but it would be like I would be on my knees on the ground, kind of wrestling with them. And it would be for very short periods of time. After a few minutes, I'd be like, okay, I'm done, and that would be the extent of it.
And how would that make you feel? Like you probably must have felt like there's stuff that you wanted to do, like you wish that you could get in there with them, but you knew that you couldn't. And did that really bother you?
Yeah, it did. It's such a gradual thing, and I've been overweight for pretty much all of their lives, so it wasn't like I was realizing anything I was missing out on, but I knew that I could be better. Like my kids would have school events, and my wife would end up taking them to the school events just because for me to be on my feet for a long period of time would be difficult. And also, my kids go to the same school district that I went to. So I would always run into people from high school because they have kids similar ages to mine. And it would be embarrassing to be that big and have to talk to them and face that.
Yeah. Did you ever think to yourself, if I stay on this path, I may not live to see them graduate or do like, did that ever come into your mind at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was a big motivation for me to get started. Something I kind of always talk about is that me and my wife always kind of talk about how we want to grow old together and watch our grandkids grow up. And now I look back on that, and every time I said that, it was just me trying to maybe visualize that happening in my head like it was a potential thing that was going to happen, but it was never really going to be a reality, because at 500 pounds, the chances of me living to my 60s to see my grandkids, it was not likely.
What got you to the point where you said, all right, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and I'm going to document everything? Because that's putting yourself out there, knowing that you have failed before, to say, now I'm going to go public and I want everybody to see me trying. And also, from what I understand, you didn't even know what you were going to do exactly, right? You just knew
No,
that you were going to fast.
I knew I needed some form of accountability. I couldn't rely on myself to be accountable, because like I said, I would start in the morning, and by the time I got to work, I would be already off my diet. You put your family in a position where, like, I would talk to my wife, and many times I would be like, it's not even going to be a real thing unless I tell my wife, because I wouldn't mention it to her, because I didn't want her to get excited that I was going to actually be doing something, because I know it was very taxing on her to see me so unhealthy. And so my biggest reason for starting the YouTube was to create an accountability platform outside of myself. I actually felt like doing meetings was helpful. Like, I'd done Weight Watchers in the past, and it is a weird thing, but if you're a guy and you've done Weight Watchers before, it's really not a great environment for men, because you lose weight very rapidly early, and it's a weird thing. And then when I was meeting with that doctor taking the phentermine, we also did a weekly meeting where it was like a support group. And I really enjoyed that, like being able to talk about what was going on. And I looked forward to going to that meeting on Thursday night, and it kept me on track, or kept me on diet. And so a big reason was just to create an accountability platform for myself. What I've always kind of kept in my mind is that regardless of whether or not people are watching me live or they're watching my videos, I need to hold myself accountable to not just the people that are seeing me now, but with YouTube, that's on there forever as long as I want. And so if somebody doesn't find out about my channel till a year and a half in, or 3 years in, or 5 years later, I want them to have something that they can see a complete story. Because a lot of times you can search different diets, and you can find people that, hit the ground running, and they're going to do all this stuff, and then a month in, they just disappear, and you have no idea what happened to them. And for
Right.
me, I wanted to create this journal of of kind of a video log of this snapshot of 3 years and me attaining my goal in that time.
So would you say that you're 100%, like, do you stay very strict with it?
over the past 18 months, I've had ebbs and flows. I've had things that have happened that have caused me to try other things or do anything. What I would definitely say is that I lose weight when I'm 100% compliant. When I'm not 100% compliant, especially when I have salt, I really notice that retention of water in my legs again, and I gain a couple pounds. And it takes a few days for me to flush that salt out of my system to get it out of there. But I've not been perfect in the last 18 months. Life happens, and I have been plant-based. I haven't eaten any animal products. I haven't gone out of being a vegan, I guess.
This is a lifestyle choice. Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that as long as I continue to eat this way, I will get to my goal weight. I will be the weight of a healthy 6 foot tall male at some point. Even if I didn't get to it by the 3-year point, that eating this way is what's going to get me to a healthy weight. And it's very doable. It seems so difficult from the outside, but once you're in it and you're doing it, it's so much more obtainable than you realize.
All good stuff, Jonathan. That really, really is. And I wish you the best. You're doing great. You're looking great. You got what, like 80 or so pounds left that you're looking at?
Yeah, 80 pounds. I mean, that's, loose skin aside, I would honestly love to see 200 pounds, because 220 is still at the top of the overweight category for somebody my height and size. But yeah, 80 pounds is my next goal. Yeah.
Well, you are definitely an inspiration. You've accomplished so much. You're a great example, not just to everybody out there, but to your own family, which is important, extremely. So thank you for coming on. Thanks for sharing your story, and we will keep up with you and see how you're doing.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on. I'm glad I get an opportunity to share my experience.